Welcome back in Radio Row Super Bowl 51. Our coverage is brought to you by Corona and Corona Light, and I thought I had a nice jacket on. We always know Mark Singleton is always nicely dressed on Radio Row, but Andre Reed, the Hall of Famer, that jacket, you always wear it in public?
Not always in public when it's warranted, but at Super Bowls and different kind of things I wear it. Yeah, definitely when there's a bunch of other yellow jackets around.
I love your story. You go from cuts down, 4th round, and then you end up being a Hall of Famer. Take me through your journey in the league.
Oh man, it definitely wasn't easy. And a lot of guys, they go through the league and they have their own things that they go through. I just was fortunate enough to be, in the right place at the right time with the right people that, believed in me as a player, as a person, and I grew, with that Bills organization over the years and was in the right situation.
Who were your role models growing up?
Well, my mom, my dad, my mom and my dad, of course, my brothers, a lot of coaches, a lot of people in the Boys and Girls Club, the volunteers, people that talked to me when I was a little kid. I mean, those are people that they said things to me that resonated, that made me the person I am today.
Little kids in Buffalo, they always had your jersey. They always looked up to you. When you were one of those little kids, who was your favorite player?
I was a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan when I was growing up. And, Franco Harris and Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, Terry Bradshaw. I mean, I wore 88 in college because of Lynn Swann. And it's something because my Kutztown University colors were maroon and gold, and that's what I'm wearing. I'm like wearing gold here, so it's befitting that it happened that way.
It took a long time to get in the Hall of Fame, a lot longer than many expected, but now you're always a Hall of Famer. You're always enshrined in canon. That's all that matters. Yeah. When you finally found out you were going to be going into the Hall of Fame, take me back to what you remember and the emotions you were feeling.
Just elated because it was 9 years of people saying the same thing every year about this time, Super Bowl time. And, when that happened, you kind of like it's your whole football career flashes before your eyes. And from the time you were a little kid to the last time you put the helmet on and took it off. And you remember a lot of the people that were on that journey with you, all the way from your parents to former teammates to friends that, that had really nothing to do with football. So it's those things that you remember that really that resonate with you.
Pro Football Hall of Famer Andre Reed with us right now. We'll get to the great Mark Singleton in just a second.
The great Mark Singleton.
Yes. I should have to call you. I already give you the Hall of Famer nod, so exactly. I'll call him the great Mark Singleton. In terms of wide receivers now, who are the wide receivers that you look at and you say, I really like their game?
Julio Jones is going to be playing Sunday. Antonio Brown. And I'm an old school guy. I love what Odell's been doing on the field. But I'm an old school guy. Guys like Larry Fitzgerald who have been doing it year in and year out, and just when young kids come in the league, you want to be like him. And you want to play like him. You want to conduct yourself like him. That's just what Larry's been doing his whole career. And, he'll soon, when he's done 5 years from that, he'll have a jacket just like this.
In terms of the wide receivers in the Super Bowl, we mentioned Julio Jones. You also look at a Mohamed Sanu. And then also for New England, you have guys like Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan's a tremendous story.
Yeah.
You look at these wide receivers in the Super Bowl. How anxious are you to see them play on Sunday?
Of course. I mean, Julio and Sanu get a lot of press. But, Edelman and, Chris Hogan they get it done. And they work within that system, right? And Tom Brady trusts them, and he trusts, they trust Tom Brady. Not household names, but, Edelman's pretty good, and he used to be a quarterback in college. So they got their hands full with both of them.
You had that chip on your shoulder. You see it with Julian Edelman. He had this chip on his shoulder. Last time the Patriots in the Super Bowl, Malcolm Butler got exposed to the national stage with that big interception. How much did that chip just motivate you to make it to where you are today?
I don't know if I had a chip on my shoulder. I think I just wanted to play. And, I never really went through a season where I, thought that I wasn't as good as I thought I could be. It really wasn't no chip and saying, well, you're not as good as you think you are, and this person doesn't. I just had to do what I had to do, and that would satisfy myself. So,
if you had to give some advice to the cornerbacks of New England, how do you stop Julio Jones?
Well, it's not how you stop him. It's how. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, do you go one-on-one? I mean, that's kind of picking your poison. It'll be interesting to see if they go one-on-one with them. I'm sure they'll do that some of the time, but they're going to have some help.
The wide right Super Bowl, that was a game where the Giants really dominated the time of possession. and New England's going to need to do that to keep that prolific offense off the field. When you look at New England's offense, we know they can run the ball. We know Brady could throw the football. How will they dominate the time of possession to keep Matt Ryan on the sidelines?
You exactly said that. I mean, Bill Belichick was the defensive coordinator for the Giants when we played them in the Super Bowl, the first one, in Super Bowl 25. And we were kind of an offense just like the Falcons. We scored a lot of points, and we ran up to score a lot. And his deal was to keep that offense off the field by running the ball, controlling the clock, and keeping us off the field. And he did that. So whether or not he takes a page out of that book, it's yet to be known. But I'm sure that's what they're going to do.
We all know when you get to this stage, you want to win the game, obviously. That's why you play it.
Yeah.
But sometimes that always doesn't work out. You know that. But still, you need to appreciate the era of football that you guys had in Buffalo.
Yeah,
because it was a great era of football, going to 4 straight Super Bowls. When you look back at that era, how do you remember it?
I remember just a bunch of guys that never quit and never gave up, regardless of how many Super Bowls in a row we went to and we lost. Just a bunch of guys that I can trust and knew that every Sunday they were there, and we were all there for the same reason. It's hard to get that in sports now when everybody's on the same page, but those guys were a special bunch of guys that I was fortunate enough to play against or play with, and a lot of those guys could have went to other teams during those years and played somewhere else, but they knew what they had in Buffalo, and they knew the chemistry we had, and that's why we're so good at that.
I love Gridiron Greats. I think the cause that Gridiron Greats does is just so unbelievable, and I've been going to these events. The first one I think was actually in New Orleans, and they're an incredible event, and it's the most important, I don't even want to say party, that occurs just because of the message that they send and the money that they try to raise.
Yep.
As a former player, first off, number one, how are you feeling? And number two, tell me a little bit more about Gridiron Greats.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I'm better off than a lot of guys. Who knows 5-10 years from now how I'm going to be? I don't know. That's yet to be known. But the Gridiron Greats Assistant Fund has been going on for a few years now, for a lot of years, and raising awareness for guys that have mental problems or physical problems in any way, and financial, just guys that need some help. And with Pork Rinds, the Pork Rinds Appreciation Day is on Sunday, and what I've teamed up with them to do is to raise awareness, and not only that, but what they're doing with this game is to give people a chance not only to win money and have pork rinds for a year, but they donate and they give a portion of it and back to the Gridiron Greats Assistant Fund.
Even as someone that just played high school football and also middle school, football teaches you a lot of life lessons. And now you get all these debates, should you let your kid play football? Yeah. Just what were the life lessons you learned from football?
Well, be respectful. You got to be resilient, because a lot of things aren't going to go your way all the time. And I think one thing kids nowadays don't do, they don't listen. They walk around and they think they know everything, and they don't listen. So you need to listen.
I got one more question for you. We'll save it for the end. Let me bring in Mark Singleton right now. Mark, first off, every year I look forward to our conversation about food at the Super Bowl, because you are a food connoisseur, as we're on Connoisseur Media, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey, and you know every place to go in whatever city we are. This is your area, though. These are your neck of the woods. Tell me about the best food places here.
Wow. The Pappas Brothers family has been a long-standing member of the business community here in Houston. And you go to any of the Papa Brothers, Papacitos, Papados, any of those places here in Houston, it's just tremendous food, tremendous family ownership, and they'll show you a good time, Zach.
Latest with Rudolph Foods. I always love hearing the updates.
Thank you, Zach. The other thing is, I know you brought attention to the Gridiron Greats, but this year, our game, Andre mentioned we have a memory game on the website, and everybody that goes to play at www.porkrinds.com has a chance to win $3,500 and a year's supply of pork rinds. But it also focuses the attention we need to focus on the memory issues and some of the concussive issues that are facing these players, both from the Gridiron Greats era and the players today.
I've always been impressed also with his football knowledge. This man knows a lot about football. Give me a prediction on the game.
Well, we have a plant in Atlanta, and if I ever get to go there again, my prediction is Atlanta. I think Atlanta 28-24.
And how about you, Andre? Prediction on the game?
I'm an AFC guy, but I'm going to go the other way, because the Patriots are in the Bills division, and pretty much don't like that. But anyway, I'm going to go Atlanta 31-28.
Now, the biggest question before we let you run, Duff's or Anchor Bar?
Wow. Well, Anchor Bar has been there for a long time. I mean, the first time I went to Buffalo and it got wings was at the Anchor Bar. But Duff's is pretty good. So I'd probably go Duff's. I hope Anchor Bar ain't listening to this, but next time I come to Buffalo, they're going to let me in or something. But both are good, but, you know, Anchor Bar has been there a long time. And, you know, Duff's is pretty good, too.
I agree with you. My first place was Anchor Bar. My sister went to SUNY Buffalo, but there's nothing like Duff's.
Duff's, man. Duff's is good stuff. The president been to Duff's. You know,
Yeah, that's
Obama
true.
was in Duff's, yeah.
I don't think we want Trump to go to Duff's.
Anyway, no comment. We don't have any comment about it.
Thank you so much, Andre. Appreciate it.
You got it, man. Thanks for having us.
Mark, great to see you as well.
Hey, Zach, good seeing you, buddy.